Welcome to the new episode, Russian Republics. As the largest country in terms of land area, the Russian Federation stretches over a total of 6,300,000 square miles, spanning 11 time zones. Although it is the largest country, population density is low at just 23 people per mile. For comparison, the US has a population density of 94 people per mile. 73% of population lives in urban areas, and the most populated areas of the country lie west of the Ural Mountains. Of its 146 million people, roughly 7% live in Moscow and 3.4% live in St. Petersburg. The other nearly 90% of the population lives in cities, built around nature resources, landmarks such as rivers, and the industrial development projects in European Russia, the Caucasus region, and Siberia. The Russian Federation is a vastly diverse country with approximately 185 distinct ethnic identities. This ethnic identity and diversity dates back to Russia's time as an imperial power and its slow but steady expansion of surrounding regions through the 19th century. Present day Russia is a reflection of its imperial conquests. However, unlike other imperial powers who lost or abandoned their imperial holdings in early 20th century, Russia has worked to assimilate non-ethnic Russians into its national identity through political and military consolidation. According to Russia's 2020 census data, 75% of its population identify as ethnic Russians. The other 25% is made up of other ethnic groups that are indigenous to their respective regions, as well as those that have migrated and created diaspora communities over generations. The ethnic breakdown of some Russia's ethnic groups includes: overall, we have 75% of the population are Russians, 10% are Turkic or Turkish language speaking groups, and Tatars 4% is another Turkic language, Ukrainians 1.5%, Bashkirs 1.2%, another Turkish language group, Chuvash 1%, Turkic language group, and Chechens 1%, Northeast Caucasian language group. There are 22 of them, and I will try my best to explain, and here we go. The first republic is Adygea. The capital is Mykop. The population of Adygea around 500,000. The minority group represented the Adygea people. They are one of the 12 Circassian tribes, and they are one of the three federal subjects that have Circassian people. They are mountain folks. Their economy depends on agriculture, food processing, and tourism. They have these interesting traditional dances where they like to go on their toes. Religion is Sunni Islam. Adygea is one of Russia's ethnic republics, primarily representing the indigenous people that form 33% of the republic's population, while Russians form a majority at 55%, and with minority populations of Armenians and Ukrainians. Second republic is Altai. The capital is Gorno-Altaysk. Altai people, who are a Turkic group, represent 40% of the population. Russian population is around 50%. The Altai Republic is renowned for its stunning natural beauty, characterized by rugged mountains, pristine lakes, and vast forests. The third republic is Bashkortostan. The capital city is Ufa. Bashkortostan is home to a diverse population, with Bashkirs being the largest ethnic group with 35%, and the Bashkirs are a Turkic speaking people with their distinct culture, language, and traditions. The region also has a significant Russian population with 35%, along with smaller ethnic groups such as Tatars with 25% and Chuvash. This is the most populated republic. More than 4 million people live in this region, and it was the first ethnic autonomous area established in 1917. Number 4, Buryatia Republic. 1 million people live in this region. The capital city is Ulan Ude. The ethnic minority represented about 35% of the population. They are Mongolic people group who are related to the Mongols, and Buryats are right next to Lake Baikal, Russia's largest and deepest lake in the world. Because of that, they are not allowed to really industrialize their area because they don't want to pollute the lake. It is so important culturally speaking. It is very interesting because they kind of Buddhism with shamanism. Number 5. This region you may heard in the news a few times. The name is Chechnya. The capital city is Grozny. Obviously, the minority group represented are the Chechen people. It's around 95%. They are the lowest alcohol drinking region of Russia because of the Islam. Stalin exiled a lot of them to Kazakhstan and then he brought them back. And then in the 90s, they tried to declare independence, but then Russia was like, they said no. That's where the two Chechen wars began. In 1994, Chechnya gained its independence for a short time. There is a series of separatist movements in this region up to this day. Chechnya is characterized by rugged mountain ranges, including the Greater Caucasus and the Terek Range. These majestic peaks, with their snow capped summits and deep valleys, offer stunning vistas and opportunities for hiking and trekking. Number 6, Chuvashia. The capital city is Cheboksary. The population is around 1.3 million. Minority group represented at about 75% of the population, Chuvash people or Tatar people. Chuvash people are also Turkic ethnic minority, known as the Silver people. Number 7, get ready because this has a lot of controversy. If you are Ukrainian, you're not gonna like hearing this, but I have to mention about this region. Crimea. Capital is Simferopol, which is also a federal city, represented minority group being the Crimean Tatars, who only make up about 15% of the population. They used to be majority. Early 1920s, the population of the Tatars in this region was 50%. But then again, in former USSR times, they were exiled to Uzbekistan. Then some of them were allowed to come back. However, today, the majority of the population is Russian. This is the largest dispute area with Russia and Ukraine today. Basically, this whole area used to be under complete Ukrainian authority in until 2014. In 2014, pro-Russian separatists and the Russian military got involved and they issued a takeover. Most countries across the world do not recognize this as part of Russia, but it kind of operates in functions under Russian authority today. Number 8, Dagestan, the gateway to the Caucasus. The capital is Mokhachkala. The population is around 3.2 million. Major ethnic groups are Avars, 31%, Dargins, 17%, Kumyks, 16%, Lezgins, 14%. There's also the many Turkic groups and Azerbaijanis, overall over 100 nationalities, and over 30 languages are spoken in this area. It is the most racially diverse region in all of Russia. About 90% of the population identifies as Muslim. The land has lots of beautiful mountains and forests and fortresses. Just like in Chechnya in 2008 and 2012, there was kind of a war that was going on. The Russian government got involved. Number 9, Ingushetia. The smallest of all federal subjects in Russia. Around half a million people live here. The capital is Magas. They are very similar to the Chechens. They are like a little brother of the Chechens, and they speak almost the same language. And their majority of them are Muslims. Back in World War II, Stalin deported a lot of them to Kazakhstan, and then when they were allowed to come back, they realized a lot of the Ossetian people took over what they claimed to be their land, and there was a lot of internal conflict. This is probably one of the most poorest regions of all Russia. And if you go there, there will be a lot of security checkpoints. Number 10, Kabardino-Balkaria. Around 1 million people live here. The capital is Nalchik. Two main groups populate most of this area. Around 60% Kabardins, 20% Balkars today, who are Circassian just like the other ones we talk about, and the bulk of whom are Kipchak Turkic. Out of all the 12 Circassian tribes, the Kabardians, they are the largest ones, and even though the majority of them identify as Muslim. Number 11, Kalmykia. Around 300,000 people live in this region. The capital is Elista. Kalmyks, who make up about 60% of the population. The Kalmyks are Buddhist people. There are also Russian and Dargin people live in this region. Number 12, Karachay, Cherkessia. Overall population is around 500,000. The capital is Cherkesk. There are two main Turkic groups. One, Karachay people is around 50% and Cherkessia around 15% represent in this region. Number 13, Karelia. Karelia stretches from the White Sea coast to the Gulf of Finland. It contains the two largest lakes in Europe, Lake Ladoga and Lake Onega. The capital is Petrozavodsk. Karelian belongs to the Finno-Ugric language family, which also includes Finnish, Estonian, and Hungarian. The Karelians are some of the last few remaining Uralic peoples on the planet. They are the cousins of Finnish people. Less than 10% of the population represent as Karelians out of 550,000 people. They speak Karelian language that is very similar. Some people say just a dialect of Finnish. Number 14, Khakassia. The population is around 500,000. The capital is Abakan. They are most likely related to the Kyrgyz people, which is also from Turkic groups. Only 15% are Hakas people, and 80% are Russian population. Number 15, Komi Republic. More than 900,000 people live in this region. The capital is Syktyvkar. Many of the settlers who arrived in the early 20th century were prisoners of the Gulag, sent by the hundreds of thousands to perform forced labor in the Arctic regions of the USSR. Ethnic Russians make up 60% and Komi people make up 25%. Number 16, Mariel Republic. The republic has a population of 700,000. The capital is Yoshkar-Ola. Minority group represented the Mari located in the Volga territory. The Maduri people are kind of called like Europeans' lost pagans. Russians make up 50%. Maris, they make up 45% of the population. Number 17, Mordovia. The population is around 800,000. The capital is Saransk. Minority group represented the Mordvin. The Mordvin people are a Volga Finnic group. The land here is a pretty flat, but they still love like cross country skiing. Number 18, North Ossetia, Alania. The population is around 700,000 people. The capital is Vladikavkaz. Minority group, the Assyrians, they are the only Iranian people group that have their own republic, Russia. They are descendant from people from Iran. But the thing is, the majority of them are Christians. They have lots of minerals and spa resorts. But then there is a controversy with South Ossetia. Number 19, South Ossetia. The population is around 60,000. It's recognized as part of Georgia. However, it kind of falls under Russian rule since 2008 after the Russia Georgian war. In order to get in from the Georgia side, you actually need a passport. 90% Ossetian people and 10% are Georgians. Number 20, Yakutia, Sakha Republic. The population of Yakutia is 1 million. Capital is Yakutsk. Or the Sakha Republic minority group represented the Yakutsk, another Turkish speaking group. They are like the most East Asian looking people in Russia. They hold fast to their traditions. They have a lot of their own traditional costumes and food. There is a ton of a diamond mining out here. And Yakutsk, the capital, is the second coldest major city in the world. Number 21, Tatarstan. Around 4 million people live in this region. The capital is Kazan. 55% are Tatars. Tatars are another Turkic language group, and 40% of them are Russians. These guys are like the brothers of Bashkortostan. Out of all the secondary languages taught is Russian. Tatar is one of the most prevalent. Basically, a long time ago, the Volga Bulgars mixed in with the Kipchak Turks. They are one of the most economically developed regions in all of the Russia because of the oil and natural resources. Number 22, Tuva. 320,000 people live here. The capital is Kızıl. Even though they speak a Turkic language, I mean, at one point they even were part of Mongolia. They have very similar traditions and customs to the Mongolian people. 90% of the population are Tuvans. Finally, the last republic is Udmurtia. Udmurtia is a republic of Russia located in Eastern Europe. The population is around 1.5 million. The capital is Ishevsk. Minority group at about 30%. They are known as the Meadow people. They have one of the highest concentration of people with red hair in all of Russia. They even have a red hair festival. Thank you for tuning in to this episode. Please follow for further insights and updates.